It's a privilege for me to be here in this panel, talking to these extraordinary people. There's always a phrase that comes to my mind. That's my motto. They say that it's a Victor Hugo's a phrase. It says, "Nothing is more powerful with an idea which time has come." You know what I mean? I think the time is coming. I think we're living in transformation, and these examples and many others, social good itself, it is the example that it's about time to create a new world. So I hope that you guys can tweet, and the ones that are home can contribute. It's a question that can give you the opportunity to tell what you do. So why don't you share with us what is, in your point of view, that innovative aspect that made your thing special? That this is it. I mean, this is the thing in my thing that's special. And then please tell what you're doing. Everybody, good afternoon. It's a big pleasure to be here, boys. Renato, I have such a challenge because the topic that we're doing is cancer. Renato's talking to me. People don't even like to say the word, pronounce the word cancer. Within cancer, we are in a specific project in the competition, which was the contest, which was approving a law that really benefited 50 million people that have health insurance, health plans. So to explain that to you, to answer your question, Renato, I think that what made a big difference was that along the time that the law needed to be passed and everything, we really counted on the participation of our followers on Facebook, Twitter. I mean, we used the social media a lot to help us at the moments that we needed to make a pressure in politicians, senators, and so on, congressmen, because there was a lot of opposite force in order to that not to be approved. So this oral chemotherapy. Now, people can do that at home. They don't need to go to the hospital or to a clinic. And that was such a big that conquest that we had. It's a complex for you to understand. It was really good for the patients. And let me give you guys talk. So Google them, like Edgar said, Google them. Well, everybody, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. It's cold, and it's cold here, and it's dark and hot back there. I'm so happy to be here. I don't know if everybody was screaming, JP, JP, but there's something that I always say in the way I present myself, that with my bicycle, on my bike, the city changed together with me. Bike Anjo, it's an organization that I coordinate, came because of that. Because as I arrived at work, arriving at the hub, my friend said, "How do you do it? I mean, how do you come to work? How do you cycle?" And I go, I said, "Okay." She's like, "I'll pick you up." And this is Bike Anjo, and this was actually, it got together. I mean, we put together all these cyclists. We use the technology, and then because technology is done to amplify things, we connected Bike Angels, volunteers that can help people to start pedaling, cycling. And it's already 220, it's present in 220 cities. Florianopolis is a part of it too. And I said, "Oh, this is really cool, we're impacting person to person." And then now we're, serving 7,000 people because of this project. But we wanted more. We wanted more, and a place that still had a very active way to see bikes. It was the companies. Rob mentioned something. Oh, the organizations and the governments are looking how to work, this, how to make cooperation. People have been doing this for so long. The new tool of change, it's yourself. So we believed in that campaign. We brought that from abroad, which is Bike to Work. And then we saw that a very important tool, it's like the entrepreneurs, which means, and there are the entrepreneurs that are working already. You are in the company, but you do have the wish to change your work or your environment in your city, and you want to bring that to the government, to your city. So then we created a platform with tools and whatever booklets and things and guidelines and everything to make a big range of activities. And we lost control, and that was the coolest thing, to be in network, to make that happen. We lost track of it. It was really cool. I saw people copying us, pirating, the logo and stuff. So half I'm gonna say now, and half I have to say maybe in other cities have bikes, for that too. Shareable bikes for everybody.
Bom, primeiro eu queria agradecer.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, all of you, for the invitation. And it's an honor to be here on the stage with these fantastic people and to talk after Murilo, Osvaldo, and Lala, who are people I admire so much. I was watching their videos on the YouTube, and it's really bizarre for me to be speaking right after them. I'm here, which is this project of which bus passes here. It was created by all of us. Shoot the shit, which does not mean what you're thinking. It means to change ideas, which means, to shoot the shit. And shoot the shit works with seeking for urban problems and trying to solve it in a creative manner, in a disruptive and cheap manner, in a meaningful way. And this is the project we developed and have had great repercussion. I'm sure that, and answers your question, which is basically because we trusted people, we trusted the process, and we opened the project so that anybody could participate. It's like a sticker. Murilo, do you have some? Can you hand me those stickers, please? For those who have not seen this project, it's ridiculously easy. It's a sticker like this. Can somebody screen this? There is a white, a blank space for people to write here, and the question is, which buses go here? We just stick there on the bus stops, and they will just in a collaborative way, write in what buses that stop on that stop. And I want to invite you, if you don't know, Google it. Que ônibus passa aqui, which translates to which bus stops here. There are over 30 cities in Brazil that have this sticker on the bus stops. Here in Florianópolis, there are some. I'm not sure if the stickers are there, but Florianópolis was one of the key cities to expand this to all over Brazil. And this idea started in Porto Alegre 2 years ago. And to understand the shift of paradigm shift that this brought, in the beginning, they thought that this project was vandalism. The city hall did not agree with that. If you would destroy the bus stop, just because we were putting a sticker there, we were put in the same category as vandalism. But this week, the city administration in Porto Alegre really took on the responsibility of putting the signaling of all bus stops in Porto Alegre, which bus stops here, not in an ugly or horrible way, but in a nice, well-designed way. So we are doing this in a voluntary manner to help them building these signs, these posts saying which bus stops on that bus stop. So the greatest differentiating aspect here is trust people and spread the idea throughout Brazil and see what happens. Lose track of it, lose control. Well, I feel, this is my personal point of view, that one common aspect for the three stories is that all of you meet the demands of what people wanted. And they needed, but they didn't know how to have that. This meets the needs of people. And on the other hand, the feeling is that when you have innovative ideas, it's not the most difficult thing. The most difficult thing is to make it happen, implement it. So the question I would like to ask the three of you, and then we will come to the 30-minute limit. When did your dream become true? When did you start implementing this, that you realized, okay, now it has stuck. It does not depend on me anymore. It depends on the collective. Was it like a specific action that you did? Was it a sentence that you said? Or what was that key element that made sure that this idea really spread? It's very difficult to help a patient with cancer to live well. We spend a long time, thinking of how we can help these patients to solve these problems they are facing on a daily basis. And this was a serious problem, the impossibility of having an innovative treatment, and a more serious impact yet, that those who were actually paying the bill of the health plan was the public health plan. So there was an incredible financial imbalance in this issue. But the key point was we were there thinking a lot. Nobody could see what would be the way out. And we thought NS, this agency that regulates health plans in Brazil, why couldn't they just do this and make this medicine available? I cannot do this because it's in the regulation, it's in the law. And then we had a click. We do have a team that does advocate for our cause. And then if it's a law, if it's a legislation issue, let's talk to them, to those who do this. So we went to Brasilia, and I think the key point, Renato, was when we literally made that this senator, Ana Amélia, understood the problem, and she actually bought our idea and joined the vote. It is the idea of really educating these congressmen and women to really help us to solve the important problems. And when she understood the problem and she really joined in, then it became a project of great gains. A lot of people worked together, and then after 2.5 years, President Rousseff sanctioned the law. That was the process. I think the process happened. In fact, it was an innovative idea. People thought it's crazy, cycling in São Paulo, and I said, no, I'll take you. It is not an innovative idea, but the first thing was a click, which is a journalist that knew about this sentence on a blog, and it says, if you want to cycle, call a bike angel. And then the journalist said, so what do we do to call a bike angel? And then I thought, well. And then I hung up and I went to Skype, and I found the first two friends that were there, and we created a blog in 2 hours, and in half an hour we created like a form for the person to apply for a bike angel. And the first thing we did say, and we realized that this went viral, was near Christmas 2010, and I think it was December 27th, this crazy guy from Recife, Enio Paipa, and he had a blog called Original Pipe Style, and he wanted to bring Bike Angel to Recife, and I said, I want to start, publicizing in my blog that we do have bike angels here. And then 2 months later, we had Rio de Janeiro, Manaus, and other cities. So this was the guy that really pushed this forward. And I just came from his place now. I spent some time in Recife to work with the bike angels there. There are over 50 bike angels there now. It was very good to see this. And I think several other moments where you go away from the web, then other things happen all over the place. Last year, we mapped more than 250 activities that happened through the Bike Angels. And Bike to Work, 45,000 people were impacted by this, or they took this to the company, or the company that wants to join this initiative, and so on. So 40,000 people were affected by this. When I leave this process and think that things still happen, because people took the ownership of the whole process, these are the clicks, the click moment. I'm very tired here from a night. I couldn't sleep last night. The flight was very tiring, but I'm really thrilled to be here on the stage with you and going to be here with you to the end of the day. The case of the which bus stops here, one meeting that was really key was to really understand that we do have a great projects in our hands, and we need to do this properly. We held a meeting with a guy called Daniel Larusso in 2012. I had not met him before. He had not met us, and he was the first guy who believed in the project. Why don't you put this on a crowdfunding, and I'm going to be the first guy to invest in you? The crowdfunding 2 years ago was not part of my life and my vocabulary. A lot of people did not know crowdfunding 2 years ago. So that was a paradigm shift in the way of how we would see our projects financed. So crowdfunding is one of the recurrent crowdfunding is one of the projects I am working with it. We made, had this 50 stickers, had a video, and placed on Catarse, and it was one of the projects that was funded very fast in the shortest period of time. Sometimes it's an external experience. And he said, I will give you 25 reais, Brazilian reais, for this to happen. I invested 25, Luciano 25. We spent 100 Brazilian reals with this project, and now it's traveling all over the world because of this project. So it teaches us a lot about the power of power. If three guys together can have several ideas and, make these ideas become true, so why don't we do it? So this was born to really make things happen. If your ideas are still on paper, get it out of paper. Do it. So you need somebody saying, look, I'm going to give you 25 Brazilian reals. This is a symbol that I have, and this is like a calling to action. And whenever I do this, how do you do this? How do you make this come true? The ideas are simple. We complicate things. So this sticker in the beginning was like 1 square meter with a map that would inform the place where the person was, with relevant telephone numbers, with the buses that would stop in the next bus stop, and a lot of information. So this idea is complex. But our work was to simplify the idea to come to a format where we had a very simple sticker with blank, with a question. So we opened, and people would also have ownership over this project, but we also changed the way of signaling, bus stops or informing the population. It is the collaborative production, crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, doing it from the beginning to the end.
Alô. Obrigado. A gente se aproximou.
Thank you. I'm really trying to be right on time. They already said we have 7 minutes, but I have a last question. It's kind of like a final message kind of thing. What has changed in each of you as human beings? Because it's simply, that's the vision of leaders, and it's like they're not people, normal human beings. The question of empathy is key, of course, but you, open your hearts to us, and what really has changed within you in this collectivity of 7 billion people, so then it can be, your final message. Well, I think that I'm completely in love of what I do. I love what I do, and you should imagine that in our daily lives, what we see, what we receive in over the phone and questions and the testimonials, people are suffering. Those are sad moments. People are insecure, and everything they're still linked to cancer, all the feelings and emotions that are linked to cancer. So to me, and I'm sure to all of my team, also my Oncoguia team, they're probably in São Paulo listening to us right now, to know that each feedback that we receive by helping that patient to take that medication through our 1-800 number, or the possibility for him to access our portal and all the information, I think that's already worth it. We know we're making a difference to make the difference in one person, and this painful moment can be a little less painful. That's what matters to me, Renato. It's very nice to see such shiny eyes, and I saw Luciana's eyes shining too. I think the biggest lesson, I had a conversation with the company yesterday, and I see that, the personal and professional transformation that you have on a bike, this bicycle really taught me in so many ways. Not my bike is like my life experience, but there are so many other tools for social transformation that are really transforming the city. And this was the big jump, in which people can engage themselves. It's not just a big tribe, but it's a very committed, very engaged tribe. Talk to people that ride bikes and talk bad about the bike lanes. See, I love this shirt because I love urban agriculture too, public spaces and urban vegetable gardens and stuff. Not only the bike, I'm in love with these things, but the network of bike anjos, it's great to take care. There's no use to have a beautiful, beautiful platform with everything if we're not careful in actually making people close to each other. They should look at each other's eyes, because I've seen bike anjos doing wrong things, but I didn't go and say, hey, you can't do that. I gave him permission for him to see that that was not the best way for him or her to do it. So fortunately today I can live on this. This was just a dream, and now I'm living this dream. I can do it. I have support by Itaú, Banco Itaú. They've given us a lot of support, and it really made me Gabi and I, we do Wings for Change. It connected young entrepreneurs that are changing things. I could only do through Bike Anjo and bicycle. So I'm not myself without this network that I'm here representing. And to make the long story short, to wrap up, actually I don't use this Twitter, but you can do it, and there's my Facebook account too, or the Facebook page on Bike Anjo, bikeanjo.org. So if you want a Bike Anjo, if you need help, many people are, I can see they're excited already. I'm so happy to be here. So excited to be here and meet all of you. Till tomorrow. Well, in my case, I think the biggest change was the awakening to a more creative city. I see nowadays that people talk about smart cities. And I was in Lebanon working on Forum Latin America, talking about smart cities. I wasn't giving a speech. I was just watching. I was part of the audience. And it was really impressive because in 1 hour, the mentioned persons, people, was not mentioned, not even once. We cannot forget what the city is. The city is made of people. We talk about electric cars and sustainable buildings and this and that. Technological things. We want more smart cities or more fun, personal, creative. I want a more amazing city. I want a fun city. And this understanding of what I want changed my way to see the city and how I see my own knowledge. So I try to understand or to improve my knowledge to solve problems that I see in the city. So it's like it's what I know and what my city needs. How do I connect that? I am an art director. I know how to do things. I know how to do pretty things. How can I use my know-how, my knowledge? How can I make my city, my street, my neighborhood looking better? As a psychologist or a doctor or a lawyer or an architect, how can you use your own knowledge to improve your city, to make society look better and feel better? So what changed in me most was to understand why my knowledge is good for. How can I use my knowledge not only to have a better life, but to promote a communitary life, a better communitary life? Thank you. I mean, this panel was like amazing. It's such a strong message in 30 minutes, but I'll leave you with a second phrase that really marks me. Mahatma Gandhi, they say, we have to be the change that we want to see the world. We have 3 people here that made the changes that they want to see in the world. So thank you very much.